1, 2. Good evening, this is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria with a regular Friday night broadcast, coming to you from the studios of VK3 CSJ in Narrowine South. A very pleasant good evening to everybody tonight on this 12th of April, with the Essendons doing a great job at winning. Anyway, very pleasant good evening. Hope everybody is well. The Astronomical Society of Victoria was founded in 1922, comprises well over 1,600 members scattered about the state and other states of Australia and overseas. Membership of the Society is open to all persons with an interest in astronomy. The Society's objectives are to encourage the study and practice of astronomy, to disseminate the knowledge of the science, and to provide greater facilities for the study among its members. Monthly meetings are usually held on the second Wednesday of each month, except in January, with the latter being held on a Saturday night. Meetings start at 8 p.m. in Molia Hall, Burwood Avenue, Melbourne, near the Melbourne Observatory, which is located adjacent to the Shrine of Remembrance. Parking is available, Burwood Avenue, Delsbrooks Drive, and surrounding streets. Admission is free, and visitors are most welcome. Privileges of membership include the right to borrow books, periodicals and other publications from the Society's extensive library located at Melbourne Observatory, receipt of the ASV's magazine Crux containing news, articles, observing notes and the like, and the free provision of the Astronomical Yearbook. Access is available to telescopes on members' nights held regularly at the Melbourne Observatory and after the monthly meetings, weather permitting. These instruments include the Society's 300mm equatorial reflector and a 300mm portable reflector. There's also a 200mm refractor managed by the Royal Botanic Gardens, and a photoheliograph are also housed at the observatory and are accessible to members as well. The Society also has a number of 200mm reflectors available for short period loan with the ASV's loan scheme to members. Members are also encouraged to make use of the Society's country property located near Heathcote, some 90-minute drive north of Melbourne. There are a range of instruments available for members to use, the larger two with the only appropriate training, which range from 300mm to 1000mm in aperture. Also located on the side is an 8.5-metre radio steerable telescope, which members can access with involvement in the radio astronomy section. Members are encouraged to make and use telescopes. Advice and help on both matters are provided willingly to newcomers desiring to do the same. Instrument making is only one of the number of common interest activities catered for within the society. There are about 20 sections or 21 sections that make up these individual groups. Other areas of interest that members can participate in include the deep sky observing, astrophotography, lunar and planetary observing, aurora, meteor, comet, radio astronomy, computing, cosmology and astrophysics. Historical studies and research in astronomy in general are all catered for one way or another. Contact details for various section directors are provided in the yearbook. Further information may be obtained by visiting the ASV website at www.asv.org.au. That's www.asv.org.au. And there is also a publication that gets sent out via email called Crux Extra, which is just an information bulletin that's sent out every other week to keep members informed of what's coming up on the latest scene. Please note that the ASV will conform to all government health directives. ASV events may be required to be cancelled, moved or postponed. If you wish to write a letter to the ASV, you can address it to the Secretary of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, GPO Box 1059, Melbourne, Victoria 3001. But like I say, all is revealed if you go to the website at www.asv.org.au. Okay, there's a few things tonight. In fact, I don't expect to get through everything that I've found tonight, but I shall keep an eye on the time and the game over on my right here. Alright, we have a Discord chat window too. If you install Discord or type in Discord in your search engine and look for Astronomy Chat Room, you should be able to find your way to the ASV's chat room. And I have the laptop right next to me tonight so I can see what's happening. But I've got to keep refreshing the page because it goes to sleep on me because it's on battery. But g'day to Steve, Mr. VK3SBX, and good evening. Oh, it's me. Okay, so I fooled myself there for a minute. Okay, Steve. We also have an email address, vk3ekh@gmail.com, vk3ekh@gmail.com for any signal reports, which I'll check in a moment. In fact, I don't think I've opened up that page, that email here on this computer, but I'll do that in due course. We also have a stream running, which I hopefully will not fall over. YouTube stream. So if you just go to YouTube and search for VK3EKH and look for the live symbol. Actually, it'll be VK3CSJ. Search for VK3CSJ in the YouTube search engine and then look for the live indicator, and that will get you here. And I can see that we're still streaming, which is good. And of course we're on the Melbourne television repeater, VK3RTV digital channel 1 in full HD. So very pleasant good evening to our viewers that are watching via the television repeater. Righto. Where was I going to go next on this? Oh yes, ASV's Crux magazine has just been sent out to me. It's a very nice little publication. It's looking very, very colourful these days, and the paper format that they've chosen for this, it's like, I'm not sure what grade it is, but it's a nice thick feel to it, and very brochure-like publication. And this is the latest Crux, which I'm holding up at the front of the camera here for folks to look at. But that's the latest Crux magazine as such. It's got a wonderful picture there on the front of a galaxy, which is M83, also known as the Southern Pinwheel Galaxy, and that was taken by ASV member Gerald Gooch at the remote observatory located under a Bortle 1 sky in New South Wales. This image illustrates what remote astrophotography under Bortle 1 skies is capable of. So yes, there it is. It's M83, the Southern Pinwheel Galaxy, and that's what I hope to be able to photograph once I get my own observatory finally up and running myself. Here, I don't know what Bortle sky this is, but it's certainly not Bortle 1. But anyway, we'll find that out in due course. But looking through the magazine as such, there's lots of interesting articles. The President's Report kicks it off. Calendar of events, over the moon for unseen Apollo footage, which I'm going to go into in a moment. A couple of pages dedicated to future-proofing astronomy. A place called Starview Farm out further west in Victoria. Going to David Hardy if you're listening. And yes, there's a few grand ideas coming through for that particular location, which is apparently got Bortle 1 viewing. And yes, several other articles. So I'll kick it off with the sky as published here in Crux, if I can just find it. Which page is it on? I think it's just before that. No, it must be just after that. I should put a piece of paper in there so I don't have to go looking for it. Must be after astrophotography. There it is. Jim Catisfolis. Let's find out how you pronounce his name. Anyway, the sky. This is by Jim. The sky for April-May. So you can see it on the screen here. The sky for April-May by Jim Catisfolis. Mercury is in Pisces and will be difficult to observe in early April as it sits low in the western horizon as twilight sets in. It reaches its inferior conjunction with the Sun on April 12, so it won't be visible till late April as a pre-dawn object sitting about 10 degrees above the eastern horizon an hour before sunrise. So again, this is one of these things where I say because Mercury is so close to the Sun, orbits so closely to the Sun, one might think that you'd never see Mercury, but you can. A number of times a year, there is a chance for the orbit of Mercury that takes it far enough away from the Sun that from our point of view, we can see Mercury either in the morning before sunrise or in the afternoon before sunset. I still remember quite vividly seeing Mercury by eye for the first time. I thought, wow, that's amazing. So, through a telescope, you will see a magnitude 1.4 or a 10 arc-second waxing crescent. By May 10, the messenger planet puts on its best show for the year, sitting at 13 degrees above the eastern horizon an hour before sunrise, shrinking to 8 arc-seconds as a nearly half-lit magnitude 0.5 disk. So Mercury will definitely put on a show to be able to see. Venus, also in Pisces, rises about 90 minutes before sunrise in early April and can be seen in the morning twilight as a magnitude negative 3.9 or minus 3.9 at 10 arc-seconds. Fully lit disk low in the eastern sky. It is soon lost in twilight as we move into mid-April and will be lost from view as it approaches its June solar conjunction and won't be visible until the evenings in early August. That's Venus. Earth, with the winter solstice approaching, the length of daylight gets shorter and the nights get longer, colder. but can offer clear viewing nights. So stay warm and don't forget to adjust your clocks back 1 hour on Sunday the 7th of April. So if you haven't done that, well, Mars is in Aquarius. It rises about 3 hours before sunrise in early April in the east, reaching a magnitude of 20 degrees, reaching an altitude of 20 degrees before twilight kicks in. The red planet passes close to Saturn on the 11th of April, only 0.5 degrees apart, and is worth a look through a telescope. Mars shines at magnitude 1.2 as a ruddy red 4.5 arc second, and contrasts well against magnitude 0.9 of Saturn. On 29th of April, Mars sits only 2 degrees apart from Neptune and is worth a look an hour before sunrise. So that's on 29th of April, Mars sits only 2 degrees apart from Neptune and is worth a look in an hour before sunrise, 25 degrees above the eastern horizon. Mars treks eastward as we move through May. A telescope reveals featureless magnitude 1.15 arc second disk. On to Jupiter. Jupiter's in Aries. The constellation Aries sits low above the northwestern horizon in early April as twilight fades, shining as a magnitude minus 1.9, 34 arc second disk. It is too low for any decent observing and is your last chance to catch a glimpse of the gas giant before it is lost below the horizon on its way to its solar conjunction in May. It will be back as a morning object in June. Looks like I still got it. Saturn, rising 2.5 hours before sunrise in the east in early April. Saturn is in Aquarius, reaches good observing altitudes before morning twilight by late April. Take the opportunity to view the magnitude 1 ringed planet with its rings almost edge on at a 4 degrees to our line of sight. That'll be interesting. As we move into May, Saturn continues to edge higher in the pre-dawn sky. By the end of the month, it sits 50 degrees above the northeastern horizon 2 hours before sunrise, shining at magnitude 0.9 as a 17 arc second disk with a wingspan of 39 arc seconds. Uranus is in Aries, will be too close to the Sun during the months of April and May to observe as it approaches its solar conjunction on the 13th of May. Uranus will appear again as a pre-dawn object in June, that is to say. Neptune is in Aquarius, rises in the east in early April, 90 minutes before sunrise. Best to wait till mid-May for a decent observable elevation to see the magnitude 7.9, 2.2 arc second bluish disk in the pre-dawn sky. Views will continue to improve in the later months. Yes, I'm looking forward to being able to image Neptune. Dwarf planets. Pluto is in Capricornus, rises 90 minutes after midnight in early April, climbing to a high altitude an hour before sunrise. By end of April, it sits almost directly above the pre-dawn sky. Pluto hunters should be able to make out its 14.5 magnitude 0.09 arc second disk. At a dark sky site. You can also still observe Juno in Leo during April. Yes, Pluto will be a bit challenging. at least I think with with Pluto, I think the idea is to take several images and track a moving object through an otherwise not moving star field, and that will be Pluto. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. The Sun. The active Sun is well worth a look with solar safe equipment. Be aware of that. Remember to take all necessary precautions when viewing the Sun. If you are a total solar eclipse hunter, you'll be wanting to be in North America on the 8th of April for what is being called the Great North American Eclipse, which has been and gone. But there's been lots of people that have been totally thrilled to see this eclipse. YouTube's littered with people that are just absolutely have never seen anything like it before, and they're just in awe of it. Americans. Moon phases. How's that described? I'll go over that, I think. And where I go? Oh, it's the stars. If you're a Taurian like me, no, the stars. As the evening set in and twilight starts to fade, grab your binoculars and point them above the northwestern horizon to find a fuzzy-looking star cluster in the constellation Cancer. The Beehive cluster, designated M44 and NGC 2632. It contains around 1,000 stars. A number of planets have been discovered around 10 of the stars in this cluster, Beehive cluster. Okay, and by Constantis, he writes for meteors and comets, but he says here that from a comet point of view, we have a couple of bright comets to look forward to. Comet 12P Pons Brooks may brighten to magnitude 4 in the evening sky in late April and May, as mentioned in the last issue of Comet and Meteor Corner in the last issue of magazine. So Comet 12P Pons Brooks is one to look out for. Comet C/2023 A3, I don't know how you pronounce this, Tushinshan Atlas, may be very bright in October and November. Many members have been busy observing the comets below in January and February. There's a bunch of comets there, about 10 of them at least or more. But the comets for April-May 2024, Comet 12P Pons Brooks is currently magnitude 6.5 and brighter than predicted. It will be visible in our skies from late April, but we'll have to wait until early May to see it as well. It's predicted to brighten to magnitude 4 at that time. On the 2nd of May at 6:15 p.m. it will be approximately 14 degrees above the horizon in the western sky. So in early May, look towards the western sky at the beginning of May, and he says here that around about 6 o'clock in the evening, it'll be about 14 degrees above the horizon. So hopefully there won't be any clouds to cause any issues. In May, it brightens slowly to magnitude 8.5 to 9 and is again visible throughout the night. So it'll be interesting to take a look for. Meteor showers in April-May 2024. The Eta Aquarids, Eta Aquarids. Over the past decade or so, Eta Aquarids activity has increased, with some years numbers surpassing those of the Perseid meteor shower. Most years, only the Geminids and the Quadrigids and the Perseids have higher numbers. This year, the peak is on May 6, with little moon interference. The Eta Aquarids are swift and bright, with many leaving trains. Etas are usually yellow or orange, but can be in many other colours. Eta Asteroids tend to have very long paths, so some activity can be seen whilst the radiant is low. Observers should start their observations around 3 a.m. in the morning, and a broad maximum occurs around the 4th to the 7th of May. So, yeah. Okay, so it'll be interesting. I'll probably update you guys with those meteor showers in Tony Hill's sky notes at the beginning of May. So thanks to Con and Jim for their reports out of the latest Crux magazine. This is VK3 EKH ASV Radio. I was going to just give you a quick bit of a rundown on last Wednesday at the ASV had its monthly meeting, and they had a very interesting speaker talking about unseen footage of Apollo. For the first time, space enthusiasts, this is leading up to it, for the first time, space enthusiasts will be able to witness never-before-seen 70mm footage of Apollo missions, which was only discovered in 2017. British archival producer and film editor Stephen Slater was part of the team behind the hit documentary Apollo 11, which was first released in 2019. The film depicts the historic 1969 Apollo 11 mission, the first human spaceflight from which men walked on the moon. Apollo 11 premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in January 2019, won 5 awards at the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards, and grossed over $15 million worldwide. We scanned so much of the 70mm footage that there was only space to include a very small percentage in the finished film, Stephen said. The footage we found doesn't just cover Apollo 11, but also the early Apollo missions, including Apollo 8. Stephen has developed a talk to show space enthusiasts more of this rare unseen footage and is currently showcasing it in Australia. We wanted to get this footage out there as much as possible, so I decided to present this in a talk format. I also thought it was a good opportunity to tell some unique stories about Apollo 8, which I think is a mission people don't know about too much about. He says, I think in many ways the Apollo 8 mission was more important than Apollo 11 because it was the first time humans left the Earth's orbit, Stevens added. Stephen said Australians were very supportive of the film, which he believes is partly due to their direct involvement through the various tracking stations located here, including Honeysuckle Creek, Parkes Radio Telescope and Timbilla, where Slater will also be appearing later in April. These ground stations have played a pivotal role in tracking all Apollo spacecraft and relaying television pictures to the world as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin made their historic steps on the moon. Apollo 8 was the first crewed spacecraft to fly around the moon in December 1968. Astronauts Frank Borman, James Lovell and William Anders orbited the moon 10 times before returning safely to Earth. Apollo 8 resembles NASA's next human crewed mission to the moon in Artemis 2. 4 astronauts will perform a flyby of the moon and will launch no earlier than September 2025, becoming the first crew to travel beyond low Earth orbit since Apollo 17 in 1972. It's really nice to be able to show this, especially to the Australian audience, which was very supportive of the film. They have a strong connection to the Apollo missions. To show it to the Australian audience first seems like a really good fit, he said. The Astronomical Society of Victoria President Mark Ascaro said the historical footage that will be shown to the Society members and the public for free will complement some incredibly interesting stories from Apollo 8. Stephen is an incredible storyteller and will captivate our audience with some enthralling untold stories. It'll be amazing to witness some incredible footage too, Mark added. The Astronomical Society of Victoria will host the Apollo 8 Astro Talk, which will take place at the Memorial Hall at Melbourne Observatory on Wednesday the 10th of April at 8 p.m. Well, you can now see that special, that presentation, because if you go to ASV's YouTube website, it is there. In fact, I've just downloaded it myself here. And in fact, while I was reading that article, I was meant to be actually running a little bit of that footage while I was reading that article out. So I'll just show that a little bit there. So yes, so there it is. I'm running the presentation right now. I've just gone about 31 minutes into the program, and Stevens is doing his presentation there, which you can see. So that's available to view on the ASV website as we speak, and I might even run that on the ATV repeater a little later on for a late night viewing here on the repeater television repeater, just because I can. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of Warren South. Well, let's see, next is next, where am I going to next? What time is it? Yep, okay. Courtesy of, where is my mouse? Courtesy of astronomy.com. Scientists discover an ancient volcano near the Martian equator. Noctis volcano, active throughout Mars history, lies near buried glacier ice that makes it an attractive place to search for life. And there is an image here which I'll bring up on the screen. Okay. The article goes something like this. Near Mars's equator, a giant volcano has been hiding from us for decades. While the site had been observed by spacecraft since the 1970s, the volcano's severe erosion disguised it. Researchers now suspect the volcano's eruptions buried a nearby bed of glacier ice. The discovery, announced at this year's Lunar and Planetary Science Conference, gives researchers a new location to probe the red planet's geological history. We were examining the geology of an area where we had found the remains of a glacier for last year, when we realised we were inside a huge and deeply eroded volcano, said study lead author Parcel Lee, a planetary scientist at the SETI Institute. The volcano, since dubbed Noctis volcano, is still waiting on an official name. So on the screen at the moment you can see where you can see the three main volcanoes on the surface of Mars to the far east of that limb, or far left of that limb of the picture. But the volcano in question is the one that's being circled there. And there's another image looking down on it here, which I shall bring up now, a bit more detailed image. There it is. This map, which is on the screen right now, or on YouTube, this map shows the location of Noctis volcano between Noctis labyrinthus and Valles Marineris, and it is a part of the Mars Global Surveyor imaging, which uses also a Mars orbiter, which uses laser altimeter, digital elevation model. Yes, so there it is. The team has been studying the area with the volcano. Was found using a wealth of data from a fleet of spacecraft. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, Mariner 9, both Viking orbiters, Mars Odyssey, the Mars Global Surveyor, and ESA's Mars Express mission have all lended a hand into it. Researchers had long suspected a volcano in the area thanks to several geologic clues. These included the presence of deposits of lava and hydrated minerals, both caused by volcanic activity. A volcanic setting for these minerals had long been suspected. The area also contains layered mesas sloping away from what is now known to be the volcano's summit, as well as the caldera that serves as evidence of a collapsed volcanic crater that may have held a lake of lava. In some sense, the large volcano is a long-sought smoking gun, they said. The team also describes some 5,000 square kilometre of volcanic deposits found around the volcano site. These deposits, which look like elongated mounds scarring the Martian surface, might have been formed by escaping steam. Scientists suspect the volcano was active for a long time. In fact, there's another image here I think I can bring up. There it is. Yes, the scientists suspect the volcano was active for a long time, most likely since early in the planet's history. Still, it is unknown whether the volcano is still active or will erupt again. Probably not. Still, the area might be a good place to probe for life, as the volcano's heat, coupled with water from nearby ice, could make the region more hospitable for life to form or thrive. So, a new finding on the surface of Mars. Yes, very good. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, on behalf of China. Good old China. Have I finished my coffee yet? No? I keep reminding myself to finish my coffee. China is moving at a breathtaking speed in Final Frontier, Space Force says, courtesy space.com 2 days ago. For the first time in decades, US leadership in space and space technology is being challenged. Colorado Springs, China, is ratcheting up its space capabilities at an impressive clip, with an eye toward challenging the United States' long-held supremacy in the final frontier, US officials say. That supremacy was established in a dramatic fashion in 1969 when NASA's Apollo 11 touched down on the moon and ended the Cold War space race with the Soviet Union. This lunar achievement has had real and lasting consequences. The United States' unparalleled space assets have given the nation's military a powerful edge over the decades, providing information gathering and communication capabilities that other countries couldn't match. The rest of the world isn't necessarily content with this situation. However, in particular, China seems intent on raising up the space power ladder, as the US officials have repeatedly pointed out over the past few years, including once again on Tuesday, April 9. Frankly, China is moving at a breathtaking speed. Since 2018, China has more than tripled their on-orbit intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance satellites. General Stephen Whiting, commander of the US Space Command, said there on Tuesday during a talk at the 39th Space Symposium. And he says, and that these systems, they've built a killer web over the Pacific Ocean to find, fix, track and yes, target United States and allied military capabilities, they said. A kill web, in case you were wondering, is a dynamic network that seamlessly integrates intelligence and warfare capabilities across various domains, including land, sea, air, space and cyberspace, according to the US Marine Corps. And that's not all. China has also built a range of counter-space weapons, from reversible jamming all the way to the kinetic hit-to-kill direct accent and co-orbital assets, ASAT, Whiting said. They're all paranoid, I think. Indeed, China demonstrated direct ascent, or ASAT, or anti-satellite weapon technology back in January 2007 when it destroyed one of its defunct weather satellites with a missile. So I think that made the 6 o'clock news. And that test was widely decried as irresponsible, for it generated thousands of pieces of debris, many of which are still cluttering up the Earth's orbit. So they're saying here that for the first time in decades, US leadership in space and space technology is being challenged. Our competitors are actively seeking ways to threaten our capabilities, and we see this every day. The US must act if it wishes to beat back its challenge. It cannot rely on the inertia of past successes to do the job. So the US Under Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering emphasized the importance of increasing resilience, a goal that said would be achieved by diversifying the nation's space capabilities. We must assess ways to incorporate radiation-hardened electronics, novel orbits, varied communication pathways, advancements in propulsion technologies, and increased cooperation with our allies. So it's all happening. If it's not happening on the ground, it's all going to happen in space, one way or another. You're tuned to ASV Radio. You're learning about it here first at 10:39. We just got a glimpse of what will happen when the sun finally dies, April 12th, 2024, courtesy of spacealert.com. One day the sun will die. Our beautiful star can't last forever. Eventually the elements that fuel its fusion will run out, and so will undergo the wild transformation into a white dwarf puffing up to a red giant whose radius might reach as far as Mars before ejecting its outer material as its core collapses into a stellar remnant that shines only with the heat left over from its death. We have a pretty good idea of how this will go for the sun itself, kicking off in about 5 billion years. But the planets, what about them? What about Earth? What about us? Led by physicist, this is a name I can't pronounce. I wouldn't try if I tried, but I'll try. Led by physicist Amornat Anangwarchit of Nasan University in Thailand, a team scientist has analysed long-term changes in brightness for 3 white dwarfs and extrapolated what that means for the planetary systems around them. Fortunately, we can rest assured that humanity, whatever we evolve into, will be long gone by then, extinct if not living it up elsewhere in the cosmos. But this beautiful blue marble we call home and other planets will not escape unscathed. According to an analysis of white dwarf stars, the death throes of the sun are going to unleash solar system carnage. In short, Mercury and Venus are goners, as is anything else in the innermost circle of the solar system. They're going to end up torn apart and devoured by the sun, slurped down like planet spaghetti. Earth may or may not survive, depending on how its orbit changes with respect to the sun's shrinking mass and shifting interactions between the planets. If it does narrowly escape, it will look very different from the lush habitable world it is today. Whether or not the Earth can just move out fast enough before the sun can catch up and burn it, it's not clear. But if it does, the Earth would still lose its atmosphere and ocean and not be a very nice place to live. How can we tell all this from looking at white dwarf stars? By studying changes in their brightness. Fluctuations in starlight can mean a few things, but they are regular. The rise and fall in intensity can suggest something in orbiting star, periodically blocking some of its light. The three stars analysed by the researchers in its latest study have changes in brightness that previous research suggests is produced by orbiting clouds of planetary debris. Previous research had shown that when asteroids, moons and planets get close to white dwarfs, the huge gravity of these stars rips these small planetary bodies into smaller and smaller pieces. By studying 17 years worth of data on the three very different white dwarf stars, the researchers were able to put together a picture of how this process can evolve. All three stars showed signs of transits, dips in starlight, consistent with giant irregular clouds of debris getting pulverized into smaller and smaller dust before disappearing, probably because the clumps of dust and rocks were being slurped into the white dwarf. One star showed signs of the most sort of catastrophic event in 2012, another in 2015. The third star had irregular dimming events every few months and chaotic fluctuations on a scale of minutes. All three stars are now behaving perfectly normal, with the transit events no longer occurring. This suggests that planetary dismemberment and devouring happens pretty quickly. But if Earth is fated for destruction, it's unlikely to be quite so violent. The sad news is that the Earth will probably just be swallowed up by an expanding sun before it becomes a white dwarf. For the rest of the solar system, some of the asteroids located between Mars and Jupiter may be some of the moons of Jupiter may get dislodged and travel close enough to be an eventual white dwarf. For the rest of the solar system, some of the asteroids located between Mars and Jupiter, and maybe some of the moons of Jupiter, may get dislodged and travel close enough to the eventual white dwarf to undergo the shredding process we have investigated. But not to worry, though. Earth's oceans are going to boil away in about 1 billion years, and long before the sun gets to that point. So, the whole idea is to leave this planet, discover starships, something similar to what we see in Star Trek. Okay, coming up to 15 minutes to 11. Space.com, courtesy of, and I'll throw this picture up because I haven't been posting pictures here, so I'll throw this in. Everybody's going to know immediately what this is. So, we finally know why NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft stopped communicating. Scientists are working on a fix. 2 days ago, published. The first spacecraft to explore beyond the solar system started spouting gibberish late last year. Now NASA knows why. NASA engineers, actually let me just bring up my insert. Where's my insert? Here it is. If I can do that? No, I don't want to do that. There it is, yep. Oh, it's a very good shot. Hang on, I'm going to bring my USB camera down a bit. Just inserting a secondary camera for the sake of it, because I can. NASA engineers have discovered the cause of a communication breakdown between Earth and the interstellar explorer Voyager 1. It would appear that a small portion of corrupted memory exists in one of the spacecraft's computers. The glitch caused Voyager 1 to send unreadable data back to Earth, and is found in NASA spacecraft's flight data subsystem FDS. That's the system responsible for packaging the probe's science and engineering data before the telemetry modulation unit, TMU, and radio transmitter send it back to mission control. The source of the issues began to reveal itself when Voyager 1 operators sent the spacecraft a poke on March 3, 2024. This was intended to prompt FDS to send a full memory readout back to Earth. The readout confirmed to NASA's team that about 3% of the FDS memory had been corrupted, and that was preventing the computer from carrying out its normal operations. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 became the first human-made object to leave the solar system and enter interstellar space in 2012. Voyager 2 followed its spacecraft sibling out of the solar system in 2018 and is still operational and communicating well with Earth. After 11 years of interstellar exploration, in November 2023, Voyager 1's binary code, the computer language it uses to communicate with Earth, stopped making sense. Its zeros and ones didn't mean anything anymore. Effectively, the call between the spacecraft and the Earth was still connected, but Voyager's voice was replaced by a monotonous dial tone. Monotonous dial tone. Voyager 1's engineering team previously told Space.com. The team strongly suspects this glitch is the result of a single chip that's responsible for storing part of the affected portion of the FDS memory ceasing to work. Currently, however, NASA can't say for sure what exactly caused that particular issue. The chip could have been struck by a high-speed energetic particle from space, or after 46 years serving Voyager 1, it may simply have worn out. Voyager 1 currently sits around 15 billion miles, 24 billion kilometers from Earth, which means it takes 22.5 hours to receive a radio signal from it, and another 22.5 hours for the spacecraft to receive a response via Deep Space Network antennas. Solving this communication issue is thus no mean feat. Yet NASA's scientists and engineers are optimistic that they can find a way to help the FDS operate normally, even without unsuitable memory hardware. Solving this issue could take a few weeks or even months according to NASA, but if it is resolved, Voyager 1 should be able to resume returning science data about what lies beyond the solar system. Yes, that story continues, doesn't it, for far-off probes. You're tuned to VK3 EKH ASV radio, as I'm fiddling around with vMix here, trying to bring up my little, what's no, I don't have that one. I've lost my little rotating thing. It doesn't matter. Alright, it's now 10:02, keeping an eye on this time. The media get close up of NASA's Jupiter-bound Europa Clipper. And this is an interesting update on events. And there's a picture here I'll bring up. Okay, briefly. Excitement is mounting as the largest spacecraft of NASA that's ever been built for a planetary mission gets readied for an October launch. October. Engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California are running final tests and preparing the agency's Europa Clipper spacecraft for the next leg of its journey, launching from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Europa Clipper, which will orbit Jupiter and focus on the planet's ice-encased moon Europa, is expected to leave JPL later this spring. Its launch period opens on October 10. Members of the media put on bunny outfits to protect the massive spacecraft from contamination. To see Europa Clipper up close in JPL's historic spacecraft assembly facility on Thursday, April 11, project manager Jordan Evans launched tomorrow's mission manager and Tracy Drain, project staff scientist Samuel Howell, and assembly. Test and launch operations cable harness engineer were on clean room floor, while the deputy project manager Tim Larson and mission designer Ricardo Resprato were in the gallery above to explain the mission goals and its goals, which you can see in the image that I'm referring to. Planning the mission began in 2013. Europa Clipper was officially confirmed by NASA as a mission in 2019. The trip to Jupiter is expected to take about 6 years, with flybys of Mars and Earth, reaching the gas giant in 2030. The spacecraft will orbit Jupiter while flying to Europa dozens of times, clipping as close as 16 miles or 25 kilometers from the moon's surface to gather data with its powerful suite of science instruments. The information will help scientists learn about the ocean beneath the moon's icy shell, map Europa's surface composition and geology, and hunt for any potential plumes of water vapor that may be venting from the crust. There's a little bit more to that article, but you can find that on NASA's media page, nasa.gov, Missions Europa. Alright, you're tuned to ASV Radio VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast. What next have I got here? Try and hurry up a little bit. Okay, just a little bit of a plug for astrophys.com, as I usually do, for good old Brendan O'Brien. Where's my slide for that? I do have a slide for that. There we go. Alright, yes, so Brendan O'Brien hosts an exceptional astronomy podcast with 2 big episodes each month. On the 15th of each month, we interview leading astrophysicists and related experts from all over the world about astrophysics, astrophotography, space science and big data, astro AI and particle physics. On the 1st of each month, we have Dr. Ian Astroblog Musgrave, which gives his monthly star guide, plus a unique astrophotography challenge. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out, astrophys.com, that's astro, P-H-I-Z, astrophys.com, for currently 189 podcasts he has done. And also, where's the other thing here I've got that I'd like to always give a bit of a plug for, which is the Mount Burnett Observatory, and I do have a page for that. Where has that gone? Where has that gone? It's just there. Okay. No, that's ASV's page. Sorry, wrong page. There. It's right over the far edge of my monitor. Alrighty then. Sorry about this. Mount Burnett Observatory. If you live in the hills, it is a very good idea that you visit the Mount Burnett Observatory on a Friday night. That's generally when they meet. They'd be up there right now as we speak. And the MBO presents our next public event is April 13, which happens to be tomorrow. It's a members' night, but I'm sure guests can be welcomed. Members' night at the Observatory Talk and Viewing, April 13 from 10:30 p.m. Let's hope the sky is clear. But go visit the website. It's mbo.org.au. MBO, Mount Burnett Observatory, mbo.org.au. There will be somewhere on the page there will be a contact for somebody to find out if it's possible to pop along as a visitor. I can't see any reason why you would not be able to pop along as a visitor to Mount Burnett Observatory, a former observatory of the Monash University. Alright, look at that, it's almost 11 o'clock. I think we should segue to what else have I got? Where's my camera? There we are. Now let's up here. Let's see. I'm coming up to spaceweather.com. Do I have time for this? A car-sized asteroid gives Earth a super close shave with flyby closer than some satellites. I won't go too much into this, but having said that, it gets so close that the line on NASA's trajectory map for the asteroid actually passes through Earth as it crosses the planet's orbit. And I've got a picture. I've taken that picture. Bring that up. There it is. So this is a bit scary. This asteroid actually places it going through Earth. Getting back to the article. But don't worry, this is a harmless space rock. An asteroid discovered Tuesday, April 9, will make an extremely close but harmless pass by planet Earth today, April 11. Yesterday. Asteroid 2024 GJ2 is roughly the size of a car. And since its discovery this week, astronomers have calculated that the space rock will graze by Earth at a mere 19.3 thousand kilometers distance. That's just 3% the distance between the Earth and the Moon. 2024 GJ2 measures between 2.5 and 5 meters, according to the European Space Agency. This means that it's an asteroid with a weight class that would have burned up in Earth's atmosphere if its orbit happened to intersect ours more directly. Astronomers believe that the asteroid's closest approach distance to Earth will occur at 2:28:42 p.m. Eastern something daylight time on Thursday, at a distance of 18,700 kilometers, and that's closer than some geostationary satellites in orbits just over 22,000 miles or 35,000 kilometers. The next closest flyby of 2024 GJ2 won't occur until the year 2093. So we haven't really got much to worry about. What is concerning, though, is how late in the process we actually discovered this object. So it could have been not much we can do, folks. Just brace for impact. Alright, spaceweather.com. What have we got happening? The solar wind is currently at 414.7 kilometers a second at a density of 2.86 protons per cubic centimeter. The current disk of the sun, which is up on the screen right now, has 5 sunspots on the disk. So if we had a telescope looking at the sun right now, we would roughly see the position of these sunspots. The current sunspot number is 81, and the radio sun, measured at a wavelength of 10.7 centimeters, is 144 solar flux units. And bringing up that image just there, the aurora australis isn't very strong at the moment. There is an auroral ring of glow over Antarctica, but it's nothing much to write home about, as I say weekly. Oh dear me, excuse me. A glancing blow, CME, is coming, however. NOAA forecasters say that a CME, a coronal mass ejection, might hit Earth's magnetic field on April 14. The glancing blow could trigger minor G1 class geomagnetic storm with the photographic auroras at high altitudes. The CME was hurled into space by a beautiful eruption in the sun's northern hemisphere on April 11. Did I save that image? Did I? No, I didn't. Alright, no, it's not there. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, and I can bring up the latest map of the solar cycle, which I've been doing in these last few Fridays. So on the screen right now is the current position of cycle 25 from a sunspot point of view and from a radio flux point of view. So like I say every week, we're still well and truly waiting for the peak of the solar cycle 25 to occur sometime next year. But the activity is still on the increase, essentially. Alright, I think that's about it for tonight. Just bring back my camera. And as of April 12, 2024, there is 2,349 potentially hazardous asteroids, which is a figure that hasn't really been changing too much over the last few weeks, I think you'll find. So for more information on space weather, just visit spaceweather.com. It's all there. There's lots of other stuff there that I don't mention. The planetary K index, for those interested in the K index, is currently the KP is currently 1.67. The 24-hour max KP is equal to 2.67. For those that understand that. Yes, and there's on spaceweather.com. I didn't grab this, but there's an interesting picture of a volcanic vortex rings. It was actually featured on the 6 o'clock news through the week. Mount Etna in Italy is doing dome thing, what they call dome thing, rare and beautiful. Oh dear. It is blowing smoke rings. And there's an image here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smoke rings that the volcano has blown. Quite an interesting phenomenon. A continuous jet of rings is dancing around the craters until they dissolve into the sky. A phenomenon of extreme rarity. Mount Etna has produced vortices before, but nothing like this. In April 2024, Etna has broken all previous records, according to one of the researchers, and tourists are flocking to the mountain to witness the display. The rapid-fire puffs are coming from a newly opened vent, which is blowing rings of volcanic gas similar to how dolphins blow bubble rings in water. The gas rings are composed of 80% water vapor, with the remaining 20% mostly made of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. It is the water vapor that gives the rings their white hue, making them resemble smoke rings. Yeah, so there is, and I didn't bother to grab that picture, but if you go to spaceweather.com you'll see it. Okay, I'll leave it at that. At 5 minutes past the hour, I'll just quickly wake up my Discord computer and see what's happening there. Discord wake up computer, you better not have gone to sleep on me. Just bear with me for a sec while I check my Discord chat window, and I have to put my code in. Hang on a sec. Alright, so we have just one person. What happened? Where is everybody on our Discord? Most peculiar. Alright, not a whole lot of people on Discord. I think everybody's been watching the footy game tonight. Don't blame them. And as far as email is concerned, let me just check my email onto vk3ekh@gmail.com and see who we have that sent us any emails tonight. Just letting that boot up in front of me here. To VK3EKH, we have Stephen with a report. He says 25 over 9. Okay, thanks Steve. And that's all too. Nothing much else coming through on email. Everybody is not around tonight. It's truth. Okay, doesn't matter. I was going to give a quick talk about sunspot. The solar eclipse too. I've just received my latest, the planetary report, which I've got on the screen just there. The Planetary Society, which is a group that Carl Sagan started way back, and it's still continuing to thrive. The Planetary Society you can become a member of. That's the magazine just there, and they've got an interesting thing on solar eclipse coming up. I was going to give that a quick read too. An exquisite cosmic coincidence why eclipses on Earth are unlike anything else in the solar system. Total solar eclipses are easy to appreciate. For as long as our historical records go back, we know that humans have marvelled at them. Many cultures developed mythological explanations for the eclipses, believing that only gods could blot out the sun. Some ancient cultures developed sophisticated astronomical systems that could explain and actually predict eclipses. Today we understand the motions of celestial objects so well that we can predict the exact minute a solar eclipse will begin at any given location. So that's the way that starts, and I was going to go reading that, which I might leave till next week. Alright, I shall now turn my chair to the west and face the radio, and where's my logbook here? Got to find a clear page. Oh, I can't find any clear pages. Let's turn it over, it'll do. Alright, this is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. I am listening on 3541 kilohertz for any stations wishing to check in for tonight's session. Go ahead, please.
VK3GL, VK3 Delta X-ray. VK3 Tango Juliet Sierra. VK3 VX. VK3 Victor India November. VK3 Bravo Sugar Fox. This is VK3
I think I've got them all. There was a couple of doubles in there. VK3GL, VK3DX, VK3TJS, VK3SPX, VK3VIN, VK3BSF, and VK3KIS. Is there anybody else?
VK3 Hotel Kilo. VK3 Juliet Romeo. VK3ZI.
What was that last one?
VK3UZI.
Alright, VK3UZI. So from VK3KIS, 3HK, 3JR, and 3UZI. It's an interesting call. Let's go stack on it. Anyway, VK3GL at the top of the list. Graham, who's portable at Bem River, I believe. VK3GL, good signal from you. VK3EKH, go ahead, please.
Okay, very good there, Clint, and pleasant good evening to everyone else who's kicked in on the call back this evening. Heard all stations quite well. This is VK3GL, portable at the Bem River, which anyone who's not aware of where that is, it's on the eastern side of Auburn, and down on the right down on the coastline, and towards the Cairn River. So we're probably sort of halfway between Auburn and Cairn River, I guess, and 20 kilometres off the main highway in Wimmering. And good signal from the energy. Clint, you've been consistently 20 to 30, sometimes peaking 40 overnight. So doing a tremendous job, that's for sure. And it's a fairly cool evening down here, but quite a nice sort of a day, although a little bit breezy out fishing today. Yeah, good broadcast. Everything all noted. I wasn't too sure on how much you might have had on the eclipse, but it looks like that made headline news across the United States earlier in the week. And I think there was a number of studies that went on and what the effect that the solar eclipse was going to have on radio propagation. in the behaviour of the animals at this particular zoo as the eclipse went over. So there was a lot of excitement, a lot of hype and everything over there in the United States, that's for sure, with all of that earlier in the week. So it would be interesting to know if you or anyone else may have had any information in terms of any feedback on or sorts of any articles about the studies that were conducted and what the results of those were. I think there was some talk about change in propagation, particularly on these roller bands, things like AM radio propagation, wideband HF propagation, and how that may change as the eclipse went over. Anyway, there we go. We're having a reasonable time down here. We actually had, believe it or not, another local amateur who lives down at Hastings Summers area, happened to be in town, or has turned up in town, and he came down to where we were fishing at the boat ramp today and the jetty, and he happened to see the antennas on Chris's car, the K3 MCO's vehicle. And he went over to Chris and was chatting to Chris for a few minutes, while Bob, 3AZ and myself were fishing at a different location. Anyway, this fella comes wandering over to me and Bob asks about what he's been speaking to Chris. He comes wandering over and he says, "Yeah, you fellas going, yeah, not too bad. Have you caught anything?" He goes. And we said, "Oh yeah, just a few small brim that we had to throw back because they're undersized." And this guy just turns around and he says, "Oh, must be too much RF around the place." And Bob and I just looked at him and says, "Oh, has he got anything to do with radio? Do you have, are you?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, most definitely." His name was Albert, and I think his call sign was VK3 KLB. I'm pretty sure that's what he said, KLB. And it is someone that I have heard on air before, and I'm pretty sure he lives down around the Sunlands or Flinders area, down around there on Westport. So there we be. We've got another amateur in town down here as well. Alright, have a good evening there, Clint. Thanks again for the broadcast. It's been entertaining while I've been lying down in bed, just listening for the, sort of trying to keep awake anyway, listening for the last hour. 7-3, and a pleasant good evening to everyone else on the call back this evening that we have heard from down here. VK3EKH, this is VK3GL Portable River over. Some bigger fish.
Something about a bigger fish. VK3GL portable at Bam River with a group of other hams. VK3CSEKH returning. Very good, Gray. Yeah, I've seen the tiny fish that you caught, and I saw the picture of the live fish that Bobby caught. Oh dear, you people. Anyway, it sounds like you're having a great day, great time. I just wish the weather was a bit warmer for you blokes, so yeah. Anyway, alright, no worries. Thanks, Gray, for calling in. Good signal from you. A little bit of, I think there's just a little bit of RF feedback, just a tinge of RF feedback going on from your portable antenna system, I'd say, but nothing to worry about, I think, at this stage. Oh, pardon me. Alright. I've noticed that I've got copious amounts of audio happening. I hope my audio level on YouTube has been okay. I'm a bit worried about it. Something I always check too late into the session. Greg, VK3 Delta X-Ray, VK3 EKH. Have a say, mate.
There you go, Clint. Good evening to you. VK3 EKH, VK3 Delta X-Ray. Good evening to the chickens tonight. It sounds like Graham's having a great time down there at Ben River. And yeah, I've got a couple of ham in the shack here tonight, and partner, Emily. And we're looking to see where your cat is there, Clint. We wanted to know whether it was sort of in the shack there or elsewhere. Anyway, one of the oldest Clint, note you got a few on, but very interesting, and as it is, we've been watching on YouTube, and the audio was, a bit hot, in other words, so, but anyway, all we see, we just back the volume off more, but Well done, Clint, and as it always is there each week with you, do a great job. Okay, Clint, drop back here. VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, VK3 Delta X-ray.
Greg in Warrnambool. VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 EKH returning. Yeah, no worries, Greg. Thanks for checking in, and thanks for the report. You're hovering around 20 over 9, and yeah, no, it's the audio feed to YouTube is always a bit tricky because it comes via my vMix program, which is where I do all my editing for the vision side of the broadcast, and I think I've selected the AGC switch tonight just to see how that's going to go. Last time I did that, I think it was a bit of a mistake, but I've decided just to experiment so that the audio levels is kept up a little bit. And I can see that the audio being picked up from the radio is also horribly amplified. So I'll check it later. Next week I might untick the AGC function. Yeah, alright, thanks Greg, appreciate the comments. Jack, VK3TJS in Shepparton, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, and the group is VK3TJS. Thanks, Clint, and it's been a terrific broadcast. Yeah, pretty much all the way, graduate 40 of it, and some interesting ideas, expanding and all that stuff. And, you know, how many videos of you still take, I don't know, but anyway, great broadcast, and I think Graham's competing with you with a signal strength. He was about 35 and 40 on 12, so good job, Graham. All the best to you guys, and hope you have a good weekend. Somebody next time. VK3KH, this is VK3KH.
Good on you, Jack. VK3TJS, VK3EKH. Thanks for calling in, and thank you for the kind reports as well. Not as strong tonight as normal. I usually do see about a 20 over 9 signal from you, but you're hovering around 5 and 9 tonight, about 5 and 9, and peaking perhaps plus 5 to 10. So not a strong signal coming in from Shepparton, but we can hear you, so that's the main thing. Thanks, Jack. Steve, VK3SBX, VK3EKH.
Hi Clint, yeah, good broadcast. I think YouTube was a bit high. I put a message on Discord about that, but you're probably too busy to pay attention, I think. Anyway, there was some good stuff there. I was interested in that article about the volcano on Mars, and I got thinking about volcanoes on Mars. There's some pretty amazing volcanoes there. The biggest one is Olympic Mons, which is 21.9 kilometres high and 72,000 feet in the old measurements. It's just unreal. Even on Earth, that'd be, 3/4 of the way to space. I'm sure on Mars there's absolutely no atmosphere at that height. Yeah, that's just amazing, isn't it? Yeah, the future in a billion years doesn't look too rosy, but fortunately I won't be around then, so I guess we shouldn't worry too much about that. And yeah, I thought the Europa Clipper void is going to be very interesting too. See what turns up on Europa. That's a very interesting place. Anyway, thanks for running the show there, Clint. We'll see you next week. VK3EKH, VK3SPX.
Yeah, good on you, Steve. VK3SBX, VK3EKH. Not as strong as normal from you as well. So, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're hearing you perfectly well. Yeah, look, I've just turned the gain down. I'm still clipping into the red a little bit when I'm speaking, but I have turned it down a bit. So I'll check it later on YouTube. If it's horribly distorted and just horrible, I'll delete it off the page, off the server. There's a whole bunch of videos, sessions that don't need to be there for any lengthy period of time, so I'll probably get rid of it. Yeah, I'll try and fix it up for next week. Make sure I don't use that AGC function. Anyway, alright, damn nuisance. Yeah, if I if I had the computer screen that's got Discord in front of me, I'll see if I can do something for that next week. I must try and do that. So there's something in front of me here. At the moment, the view is out over the garden into blackness, and I can see distant lights of Fountain Gate Shopping Centre. All right. Thanks, Steve. It's across to Ian, VK3VIN, VK3EKH. G'day, Ian.
Everybody, VK3EKH and the gang, VK3VIN in beautiful uptown, up the hillside of Kangaroo Flat. And another good broadcast, 5 at night, about 20 to 30 dB. In the main, you were 20 over 9, so that's what I've put in my log. But tonight, another interesting broadcast. I'm not sure that I like that position at the end of the sun. When the sun dies, and it's just funny. But I don't think we need to worry too much. During the week, BBC has a documentary podcast, and there's a whole series of them. And I went back into the archives this week and had a most interesting interview with Jocelyn Bell Burnell, discovered pulsars. And I think that was in 1967, and that was an interview where she talked about the discrimination and the dominance of men, and how her supervisor got the credit for the discovery that she made. And a most interesting interview, well worth listening to if you want to go to the BBC podcast. Look up the archives, documentary archives, and you should find it there. And that was in front of an audience. I'm just trying to remember her age. I think she's in her early 80s now. But as sharp as it and very lucid with, how she expressed things. She hopes to change with women getting the credit for what they do, not have it stolen from them by males. I think I've heard you mention Jocelyn Bell Burnell on a broadcast way back. So I just thought I'd mention that. It would be well worth the listen. And the clip. I didn't take a lot of notice of it because it was, what was it, America, Canada, or somewhere else. But know that it was there and what effect it might have had on radio. And of course we've got the sunspot cycle coming up next year. So I'll make some interesting things there. And as I say, 5 and 9 plus 20 to 30. I have to 5 and 9 plus 20. Thanks to the broadcast. You did sound a bit tired tonight, I have to admit. But nevertheless, that was outstanding and VK3 EKH. VK3 EKH.
VK3VIN, VK3EKH. Yeah, no worries, Ian. Signal's not super strong tonight. You're just above my noise. My modem produces wideband noise across 80 meters, and if that wasn't carrying on like it is, I'm sure I have a better copy on you. But I heard most of what you said. Not a problem. Everything, pretty much everything. And yes, I have mentioned quite a few times about Jocelyn, and usually around about the time that's her birthday, I tend to make a comment, perhaps. She's certainly visited here in Australia a few times, and did a presentation down at the Hobart Observatory, I forget what it's called now, radio telescope that's down there. It's one that's constantly studying the Vela pulsar. So quite an amazing lady, and it's good that she's still got her finger on the pulse of things. I just hope that she eventually gets acknowledged for a Nobel Prize for discovery of the pulsar. It still eludes her, as far as I know. Anyway, that's another story. But thanks, Ian. Good to hear you, and thank you for listening. Peter, VK3BSF, local lad, VK3EKH.
Thanks, Cliff. Good broadcast. And I missed no Tabitha, no space further. What am I going to do? Graham at Ben River, he's got a good signal. He's about 20 over 9 here. He must be running a generator and a little bit of power. But it's your signal from YouTube. I gave it away and listened on the radio. But you figured that out. You're going to correct that. Otherwise, I can hear everyone. Conditions aren't all that crash hot.
My apologies for YouTube listeners and viewers.
Times, isn't it? Okay,
bloody YouTube.
VK3BSF.
Yeah, good on you, Pete. VK3BSF, VK3EKH. My humblest apologies for not getting that level right on YouTube. It's a damn trick, it really is. But I shan't do that again. I'll make sure that what I'm seeing here on my vMix program is right for YouTube. So I think the audio level on the repeater was fine on the television repeater, but I have just turned this AGC function off. The AGC tends to really lift the audio up, and so I've turned it off. So levels should have come back down a bit, and YouTube should be sounding a bit better, but it's far too late. It doesn't matter. It's all amateur stuff, isn't it? All right, thanks, Peter. Ian, VK3KIS. Andrew, VK3KIS, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, VK3KIS, which should help if I've got the processor on now. And all the listeners, you are keeping warm, and that you've finished your coffee before it got cold.
No.
Not too much happening here. Just been
almost did.
messing around with the power supply, trying to get the meter and voltmeter working. I think I've done it. And can go to bed with good knowledge that all is well. And good to see that the modem hasn't fallen over tonight. I think that the YouTube is still going strong. Anyway, 7-3, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. VK3KIS, VK3EKH. Yes, thanks for the report. And again, I apologies for the audio being the only horrible thing about the YouTube stream. But as Peter said, just turn the audio down, and I've only got the look. To be honest, I've only got the YouTube stream running for the video side of it, because I've got so many graphics, so many pictures and video to show, that it's really just for the visual experience. Don't worry about the sound. But I know that at the end of the week, there's not this week, but the end of next week, there's usually I see usually about 200,000 people viewing the YouTube channel. Joking, of course. No, but there's about 20 viewers that do catch up with the YouTube stream over the next week. So apologies for those folks that are going to be catching up with my YouTube stream. Bless their hearts. But yeah, it's going to be horrible audio. So it's always audio. It's always audio is a problem with this sort of stuff, I tell you. Anyway, thanks, Ian. It's Steve Baby. He's probably fallen asleep by now. VK3HK, VK3CSJ, EKH. Go ahead, Steve, if you're still awake.
I'm still awake. I'm actually up. Wouldn't believe it. I'm actually up. Thanks very much for the broadcast. Going through fine on 80 metres. You know the problem on the other one. But there it is. You look absolutely knackered. You look absolutely knackered. So
I am.
Close down as soon as possible and hit the shower and then into BED, I think. Have a good old sleep. And mate, bad news about this lump of rock that's flying around the joint. You got me quite upset. Anyway, you're 25 over 9 here in the borderlands over in Surgery Gully. We'll catch you later, Cody. See you tomorrow morning, maybe. VK3 VK3H.
Borderlands. VK3 EKH. Alright, not a problem. I won't bother. But yeah, sorry for the audio. I'll make sure next week it's much better. I mustn't do that mistake again. It's just stupid for me to do it. No worries, Steve. Yep, I'll come up on 160 tomorrow morning. I'll say hello to Gus and whoever else is there. There's a couple of interesting things to talk about, actually. All right, thanks, Steve. Let you get to bed. VK3JR, Frank, if you're there still, you're late in the list. VK3JR, VK3EKH.
Yeah, VK3EKH.
Quick on the microphone.
Still here, enjoying it all. Good evening, everyone, especially to Mr. GIN, Ian, and Andrew, and to Mr. Hong Kong, of course. I might come up tomorrow morning as well.
Yeah, do that.
No missions tonight.
Okay.
Next week, though.
No problem, Frank.
Now, down to the real business. Enjoyed the broadcast as usual. Particularly interested to hear that they look to be able to re-establish contact with
Voyager 1.
It's quite remarkable, really, to me, that it could be so far away and things could go wrong, and that they can still rectify them. Great stuff. Great stuff. Explorer 2, of course, has kept going right through, and that's a long way away. That is one. Otherwise, not too much to talk about. The sunspot number seems fairly low. It varies a great deal. It has been as high as 160, 170, now it's down to 80 something. And conditions accordingly on HF, certainly on the higher frequencies, 20, 15 and 10 are not as good as they have been. Anyway, it is what it is, as we say. So there you go. Thanks for doing it, Clint. And we will talk.